Hey guys, certainly a pleasure to be here, and let's see if I can get this slide ready to roll. So again, I'm Esme Williams from allrecipies, and I'm part of the marketing team there. With me today are Julie and V, and we're going to be taking you through the world of mobile, and I'm going to give you a general overview in terms of like how big is mobile, and what are people doing on mobile, and what should I be thinking about. And then Julie works on our business intelligence team, and V is part of our product team for mobile. And they're going to give you some really great insights in terms of, at allrecipies, what are we seeing, what are we thinking about, and how is that driving our product innovation. So 5 years ago, like, who would have thought this cute little 4-ounce device would completely change our world as marketers, right? It's turned things upside down, and if you're not noticing it yet, you will. Like, there's no going back. How, what, and where consumers connect with brands and with each other around brands has completely changed because of mobile devices like this. 2012 was another milestone year in terms of mobile innovation with software, hardware, device functionality. It's completely changing our world. And what's so exciting is so much of that innovation is happening right here in our own backyard. For those of you that haven't had a chance to really check out all of the Microsoft products on mobile, whether it's the Surface tablet or the phones, they're really, really cool. And I think V will be talking about a particular product that we introduced across a couple of tablet platforms. Was it last fall? Yeah.
October, November.
Okay, so when we think about global, we need to think, well, when we think about mobile, we need to think about global. 2 billion of the Earth's inhabitants are now connected to the web, and a big part of that is mobile, right? And so what's so significant about that is that in many far-reaching parts of the globe, folks didn't have access to the type of information they have access to today, right? Whether it's goods and services, information about what's happening in their own backyard or in other countries, the ability to connect with each other. And we saw a big change happen with the advent of sort of the Arab Spring. The combination of mobile with social really changed the outcome of potentially, how the future for those countries play out. So really a big deal. When we think about mobile, it's really brought unprecedented growth. It's the rate of growth in which people are adopting these technologies is like nothing we've ever seen before. And to give it some context, people are adopting mobile 10 times faster than the rate at which they adopted PCs in the 1980s, twice as fast as they kind of jumped on to the internet in the 1990s, and 3 times faster than people joined and became engaged with social networks. So this is a rate of adoption that really we've never seen before, and it's really quickly changing how, what, and where people are doing things. In the fourth quarter of last year, the shipments of mobile devices eclipsed that of PCs, right? That's a big deal, right? For a lot of folks, they're no longer buying PCs, they're jumping straight to phones and tablets. And so presently there's about 1.5 billion smartphones and tablets installed globally. That's a huge number. And so, as I mentioned, right now the shipments of mobile devices exceeds that of PCs and laptops. By about mid-time next year, the actual number of users will eclipse desktop. So we're seeing that the really fast adoption and purchase of mobile devices. Presently, when we look at total internet usage, PC and laptops still dwarf that of mobile. So about 84% of the time people spend online, the pages consumed, are coming from a desktop or laptop device. And of course, a lot of that is happening in the homes or at work. But the rate of growth of which mobile is growing is very significant. So whereas internet usage from a traditional desktop or laptop device is really slowing down to about single-digit year-over-year growth, mobile is double or triple digit. So very significant rate of change. And the chart on the, I guess it'd be your right there, just kind of shows how the access from a mobile device is cannibalizing access from PCs and laptops. And I'm sure, I bet everybody in this room owns a smartphone, and the vast majority of you own a tablet. And I'm sure you've seen your own personal habits in terms of how you access information change. No longer are we tethered to a computer, or do we have to sit in an uncomfortable chair. Now we can access information wherever we please, which is really great. When we think about market penetration, this slide here is from a marketer, and it shows you the number of shipments worldwide. And so at the base there in red are smartphones. And so this year, about 1 billion smartphones will ship. And then when you move up above that, you can see PCs, laptops, about 216 million, 150 million desktop PCs, and about 172 million tablets. So obviously, smartphones are really leading the charge in terms of the number of devices and the number of folks who are really taking advantage of them. But what's interesting is, whereas smartphones lead market penetration and adoption, the behaviors across smartphones and tablets are not the same. And so this information is from Adobe. They released it recently, and they took a look not at the number of devices, but the amount of pages of content consumed. And whereas there's a lot more smartphones out there than tablets, what they found was that actually more total pages are being consumed from tablets. And this is likely because the tablet form factor provides a much different user experience, right? People are much more likely to sit back, and it's the large screen makes it really great for browsing, whereas a smartphone is really better for sort of small bits of information, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So who is it that owns smartphones and tablets? Of course, it's almost everyone these days. About half of U.S. adults now own a smartphone. About 1 in 4 own tablets. In terms of gender, it's pretty equally split. So for smartphones, men are slightly more likely than adult women to own a smartphone, 46% versus 45%. And then with tablets, there's a little bit of a greater disparity. Women are more likely to own a tablet, about 17% more likely to own a tablet. And so that's kind of interesting. I think the Mini probably is a great accessory, so maybe that's driving it too. When we think about age, there is some differences by age. Younger folks are more likely to be adopting mobile technologies as compared to their older counterparts. Millennials, about 2/3 of millennials own a smartphone. About 1 in 4 own a tablet. I think the millennials, it will really grow. I think we'll start to see tablets really take hold in high schools and colleges. And so as we move forward, millennials, that'll be their primary device for consuming sort of the printed word, probably eclipsing books. For Gen X, it's kind of a similar story. Almost 60% own smartphones. And then you start to see the percentage of folks owning a tablet ramp up. And some of this likely has to do to price point, right? Tablets are kind of expensive, and if you're still paying Sally Mae for your college loans, you probably can't buy an iPad. But as prices come down, we'll start to see higher adoption levels for the younger folks. And then once we get to the boomers and the seniors, we really start to see some of these technology numbers wane. But what's so interesting is that we're seeing with these age segments, many of them just go straight to tablet, right, to kind of skip the smartphone. And you can see with seniors 65 plus, 13% own tablets versus just 11% smartphones. And so again, that big screen probably makes a really big difference. And when you think about as people age, their kind of dexterity becomes not as good. And a smartphone, if you're ever trying to look through your contacts and hits the search button and it keeps hitting, the A last names, it can be frustrating. And so I think for older generations, the tablet really is a great device for them. In terms of household income, not a big surprise here. Really, the higher your household income, the more likely you are able to afford a mobile device like a smartphone or a tablet. And I think it's pretty universal that I'm sure just about everybody would like a tablet. So I think if you can afford one, you probably have one. Here we look at consumer behaviors. So whereas both smartphone and tablets are mobile devices, the behaviors that people exhibit on those devices are a little bit different. And this is probably important to think about as marketers. So smartphones are very much centered on task-oriented kind of utility. you're more likely to be on the go when using your smartphone to access the internet. Getting small pieces of information, whether it be directions, you need an answer to a question, maybe you're wanting to check in on a social network to kind of see what your peer group is up to. There is a lot of mobile commerce happening from smartphones, and we'll talk a little bit in terms of how mobile commerce varies from e-commerce, but a lot of people are using their phones in that sort of path to purchase and aiding them in that consideration set in terms of what to buy where and when. Finding local services, obviously a lot of the geo-targeting of information will only increase this as people are able to be targeted with local offers that are really relevant to where they are and what they're doing. In terms of tablets, a little bit different. Again, the form factor is larger. The device is much more of a pillow or couch device. It's a lean back. It's, at the end of your day, you might finally have time to yourself and you're going to grab that tablet and consume information. You might catch up on email. Obviously, video is really popular. It's about 29% more popular on a tablet than on a smartphone to watch video. And on a tablet, you're more likely to see consumers watching long-form content, right? Movies, shows, connecting to Hulu, Amazon Prime, et cetera. You're also more likely to see folks purchase products and services on a tablet as compared to a smartphone. And again, when people are looking to purchase goods, there's typically a good amount of information they're looking at. What does it look like? What are the features? What does it cost? When can I get it? And a larger screen is much more conducive for that. When we talk about mobile commerce, it is different from mobile e-commerce. Mobile commerce is really describing the use of mobile technologies to aid in that path to purchase, right? So you're not purchasing goods on your phone. Instead, you're using your phone. Maybe you're at Best Buy and you're looking at a couple of different laptops and wondering, well, which one is best for me? You're going to pull out that smartphone and you're going to take a look at the ratings and reviews and see what other people who have used these products or were in need of these products had to say. You're probably going to go, well, gosh, the price here is this, but I wonder what Costco or Amazon, what they offer the same device at. So that's mobile commerce. At allrecipies, we're kind of a part of mobile commerce because a lot of folks use our phone when they're in the grocery store, and these guys will talk a little bit about that when we get to their section. Mobile e-commerce is the act of purchasing goods or services directly from your phone. And so an example from that, Amazon here in our own backyard, I'm sure does a tremendous amount of mobile e-commerce. When thinking about how people use mobile devices, within this path to purchase, we need to realize that a lot of people are looking at multiple screens. There isn't one way or one device that people look to. This information here is from Google, and their recent research showed that 90% of folks use multiple screens sequentially when using technology to help aid in a purchase decision. It might start with your tablet and go to your smartphone and then to your PC or vice versa. The interesting thing is that 98% of folks move between devices on the very same day. So this is so fluid, right? It's multiple screens. We don't even really think about what device it is that we're using when we're looking for information. And as marketers, we need to pay really close attention to that because we need that experience to be really seamless and continuous and familiar across screens. It really shouldn't matter how big or small the screen is and whether or not it has a keyboard. This next slide is also from Google, and there, again, I talked about the sequential screening, and this is just some data that they were able to pull up that showed that there isn't really any one consistent path that people are following. It sort of can be any variation or sequence of devices. It really depends who the person is, what they're looking for, what their day looks like, where they are when inspiration or need strikes. So what this as marketers has done is really change that purchase funnel that we were probably all studied in high school or college and changed it to more of a funnel cake. It's kind of a mess. It's really hard to predict what that path would look like. And so the lesson is we really have to be everywhere all the time, which is a challenge. So mobile is really, really exciting. It's providing us opportunities to connect with our customers in ways that we were never able to do before, right? Remember the days when you really had to rely on a salesperson to really provide information or insights to your target consumer, and now you can speak to them directly through mobile devices, or they can speak to your other customers to see whether or not this product is great for them. So we think more of the path to purchase, it's much more of a cycle than it is a funnel, and so it really starts with the discovery, and discovery is really where people are out there seeking information, so you want to make sure that whatever information you have is highly discoverable in search engines like Google, both for mobile and desktop. And then engage, and that's really about, hey, this sounds interesting, but what did other people have to say? And you might look at pictures or photos or reviews, ratings, et cetera. And then empowerment is typically anything that can help them get the information they need to make that purchase onto the purchase. And then really the most important thing is that sharing back out, right? Because we know that it's that word of mouth that really influences a large percentage of purchase decisions. So just know that the path to purchase is no longer linear. I'm sure you all know that. The power has really shifted to consumers in this consumer to brand relationship. We really need to be focused on what their needs are rather than our own, and finding ways to create products that really meet their needs and get them excited. Consumers are constantly connected. They're living these highly digital lives, and we have to make sure that we're there for them when they need us in any which way that they might want to connect. And so brands have to have a mobile presence by offering valuable and highly accessible content across screens. And again, that goes back to making sure that your content is highly discoverable and accessible, and that it's easy to get to, right? And these guys, again, will talk about how we think about different devices and how we design to make sure that experience is really positive. A little bit about allrecipies, because this will give you context to, like, why the hell do they think they can talk about mobile? We do have some pretty good experience in this area. allrecipies, founded right here in Seattle by 5 UW grads. We're in our 16th year. We are the world's #1 digital food brand. We have, I think in December, 38 million unique visitors come to our sites globally. In the US, we're a top 100 ranked website. We're the #1 food site in US, Canada, and Australia, #2 in the UK, #3 in Poland, Netherlands, and I think Mexico, so growing fast. We just launched our international sites in 2008. And we're the 7th largest social site in the US. A lot of people don't know that. Our apps have been downloaded 17 million times. And we do have sites that, we have 18 websites, 18 mobile sites, serving 23 countries in 12 languages, so allrecipies is a global brand. We are mobile, again, founded here 16 years ago, very much as a web-based brand, but because of our consumer behaviors, we've very quickly becoming a mobile company. Our president, Lisa Sharples, always likes to say we are now a mobile company. I think 2 years ago, 8% of our traffic was coming from a mobile device, and now we're nearing 50%, and these guys will talk more about that. And what's so cool is that about 50% of these visits from a mobile device are happening from within the grocery store. And so we have a really great ability to connect with the consumer at that exact point of need. And with that, I give you Julie. B.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Sarah? No, good. So in terms of what our product offering is right now, is this close enough? Can you guys hear me? No. So we basically have 2 tracks. The first track, if you will, is really all about giving users access to recipes wherever they are. And so leading that is a mobile version of our website. But then we also have native apps for every platform. So on every flavor of phone, we have the dinner spinner for iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, and Kindle tablets. And then also we have Your Kitchen Inspiration, which is for the iPad. And then with the Windows 8 release last fall, we also introduced our recipes for Windows 8. So really about giving users access to their recipes no matter where they are, meeting them where they are, where they expect us to be, and giving them access to their recipe box and tools like shopping lists. And then the second track down here, you'll actually get to see a demo of a little bit later, but this is a really new and we think really exciting space is related to videos. So it's a video cookbook where we've taken our top recipes, the most loved, the most reviewed recipes, and put them in video form. and really taking the experience of cooking and made it come alive and center the experience around that. So that is the video cookbook series, and that's on iPhone, iPad, as well as we have a Windows 8 version of that as well. And you will be seeing a lot more of that one in a bit.
Great. Can everybody hear me on the wireless mic? Yeah? Okay. So I'm Julie. Good morning. I work in business intelligence. Anybody here work in business intelligence? No? Okay. First lesson in business intelligence, we do a lot of surveillance. So we're going to surveil a little bit of what's going on. Everyone look at your neighbor, and I want you to identify whether or not they have a mobile or tablet or PC device. Raise your hand if they do. Your neighbor. Okay, okay. Now this is the part where we rat them out. Raise your hand if you have seen them use that device in the last 20 minutes. All the way up. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So not only is mobile on the rise, mobile's a part of how we do business. It's what we do in our downtime and in our free moments, and that's what we really mean with mobile in terms of meeting people at their point of need. Who here has thought about the next meal they're going to eat? Raise your hand. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You could be an all recipes audience. And the thing about all recipes is that people are thinking about food all the time, and they're thinking about food differently depending on what kind of time it is. And so one of the things that we do at all recipes is keep really good track of when are they looking at it, what are they looking at it, and how are they looking at it. And what we've really seen in the last 18 months is this fantastic rise in mobile. Okay? So the last surveillance here, take a look at your neighbor and see who's got more than one device in front of them. More than one device. Raise your hand if your neighbor has more than one device. Yeah? Oh, yeah, okay. We'll take the giggles as a confirmation. So we're seeing this at all recipes as well, right? We've got people, the green line there is tablets, and the orange line there is smartphones, and we're looking at all recipes visitors, and there's just been a lovely increase in usage and in adoption, and that is driven, at least partially, by the seasonality of these devices. So we're looking at Christmas gifts, we look at back-to-school gifts, and when you're thinking about marketing and trying to figure out how can we market this new product, we talk about things all the time, like, do you want to be a launch partner with all recipes and you want to be in back to school? Well, when does back to school really start, right? Anybody here market anything for back to school ever? Yeah? Okay, when does back to school start? July, right? And if anybody can see this, when do we see these bumps in traffic, right? It's July, right? So it's very much from an all recipes point of view of lining up what's going on with our audience and then matching that to the data.
And then Christmas.
Ooh,
You can
jump
also
in.
see Christmas on this
Yes,
graph.
and Christmas, right? Christmas is, of course, fantastic, right, for us. And one of the things that was really interesting to us is look how steep the Christmas curve, this is December here, the Christmas curve was this year for tablets versus last year, right? It's incredible adoption, adoption.
Yeah, how many of you guys know somebody, or yourself, or know somebody who got a tablet for Christmas?
Or your kid asked you for a tablet. How about that? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So we also see that people are using these devices differently by time of day. So at the bottom here, I've just got 6 different sections. So early morning, midday. These are just 4-hour sections of the day. You can see that in the early morning, which is 2 to 6 a.m., primarily people are on their smartphone in terms of it's not that there's more people on their smartphone in the morning, right? But it's the fact that people are more likely to be on their phone in the morning, okay? So that's everybody who's ever sat in bed and been like, I can't sleep, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just gonna be on the phone, I'm gonna do all recipes and look at pumpkin pie. I know who you are. And as you can see, the morning gets going and smartphone share sort of falls off, people are getting ready to go, they're getting into the office, and you begin to see this rise in desktop usage. And then, 5 o'clock hits, early evening, and everybody leaves the office, and no one's on their PC, right? And things just go down. So it's very much about meeting consumers at their point of need, and we really recognize that people use their tablet differently than they're using their smartphone, and that we have to design our products to accommodate that. And so we noticed that people were behaving differently, and then we thought something really novel. Why don't we ask them what they're doing? Anybody here have a market research department at their company? You are your market research department? So we asked people, what are you doing with your devices? And this is from our holiday 2012 trend, so it's about 2 months old now. So tablet owners, 30% of home cooks own a tablet. 30% of home cooks. And 70% of them have searched for recipes on their tablet, whereas only 37% of smartphone owners have searched for recipes. So that's sort of our first clue of, aha, people are interacting slightly differently here. And as Esme said, our community is enormously social. We've got cooks that interact with each other, suggest recipes to each other, review each other's recipes. But we've been seeing that perhaps the smartphone device isn't the most social of those devices. So maybe we need to optimize for something a little bit different. Ditto with watching cooking videos. Only 6%, 1 out of, 18 people have looked at a video on your smartphone. Why? Because it's this big, right? You're like, unless I'm on an airplane, why in the world would I watch a movie like this, right? Tablet owners, that's 1 in 5. 1 in 5. And I bet, and this was actually before the Christmas holiday, I bet that number's even higher today. 44% of women with smartphones report using their devices more often when grocery shopping compared to a year ago, okay? So we're all recipes, we make money, we do business, and part of that is trying to meet consumers' needs with advertiser needs and locking those things together. And when can you do that best? At the grocery store, when the shopper is in there making her decision. So 44% are doing it more, 46% about the same, and only 10% of people are doing it less. So we see now that there's a need, there's an interest, there's going on. So what do? We have to innovate. And what makes allRecipes so special is we're taking these market research insights, our business intelligence insights, and we're using that to drive our product development.
Yeah.
And
Do you want to click?
give that over to V. Yes.
Okay, so at the heart of all of our experiences is the recipe page. And so you can see right here, here's what the desktop site looks like. But what's really interesting is the difference in terms of what percentage of usage that takes up on the desktop versus mobile. So you can see 42% is the recipe page for our full site, whereas on our mobile site, it accounts for 70%. And then that combined with the survey feedback around people being in the grocery store when they're pulling up, you see asparagus is on sale or chicken's on sale. What can I do with it? We find people doing a search for chicken and then really shopping off of their recipe page. So can we go one more? Oh, can we actually just go one more beyond that? Yeah, and then one. Animate it. Yeah. So you can see right here our mobile version of our recipe page includes this checkbox UI. So you can write as you go. Say, yep, I have butter, brown sugar, but I need this, right? And you can go and buy it. So we've really taken the mobile experience and really tried to optimize for what the user is doing, what do they need. So kind of beyond that checkbox UI, we've also...
Actually, V, can we just take a moment? Anyone who's got a smartphone open, just go right now to m.allrecipes. m.allrecipes. Just go in there if you have a moment. Go in there. Go to yeah, if you've got one, yeah. And then just click on a recipe. And if you don't have a smartphone, look at your neighbors. And just click on a recipe there. Anybody find a recipe? What's the recipe of the day? What?
Pork roast.
Pork roast, delicious. Okay, click on pork roast. Now you're in the grocery store, you've been at a meeting all day long, your brain is fried, you do not have a shopping list, but you can shop from the recipe, which is
exactly
what V innovated for us.
Well, not me personally, but
She was totally in charge.
Yeah. So we have that, but the other piece is a lot of times you get to a recipe and it's not quite the right one for you. Let's say you don't like a particular ingredient, for whatever reason, it doesn't meet your nutritional needs, whatever. So not only if you like it, you can shop from it, but if you don't like it, getting you to the next recipe is also really important for us. So the way we've done it on the site is we have sort of this hint at another recipe. But for the mobile site, what we've enabled is a swipe. So if you guys have it up, you can just swipe with your thumb and kind of keep going through to get to other recipes. And then beyond that, we've also incorporated the recipe box and shopping list. So regardless of where you are, you can bring that information with you. So if you're at work at 4 o'clock and getting hungry, you could be using the desktop site to plan dinner, save something, and then bring it back up when you're at the store on your mobile, either through our mobile site or really through any of our other experiences like Dinner Spinner. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, so what Bea was just saying is so important. We know, as Esme said, that 90% of people are multi-screen, right? So it's whatever it is now, 11:40, you're thinking, gosh, pot roast sounds delicious. You add it to your shopping list, and then, oh, by the way, you totally run out of batteries, and you get to whatever reason your car charger's not working, and you have a mini meltdown, and you're at the grocery store, and all you've got is your tablet. Well, you go to the app, right? And you log in to yourself, and there's your shopping list. It's available for you at that time. And ditto if you'd gone on the desktop, if you'd gone back on mobile, it's to improve that consumer experience so that you've got one unified brand experience across. That's the really important part of mobile. Nobody likes surprises, Nobody likes surprises, and you really want to give people what they expect, which is actually something that not every site that's using mobile is doing. So that's something that's really special that we innovated. And you can see how people have adopted it here. This is how people were using Shopping List on mobile last year. We launched our mobile site, which was optimized for mobile, and all of a sudden Shopping List usage just shot up, right? Because people are actually using it and integrating it into their everyday lives, which has been fantastic for us. And that's part of what makes allRecipies so special, is that we look at the data, we plan the product, and then we go back and we say, did it actually do what we thought it was going to do? And in Shopping List, in this case, it really did. One of the other things that we've seen is video. Like I said before, 1 out of 5 folks on a tablet has been watching cooking videos. And we've seen in the last 18 months this fantastic growth of video, right? From almost nothing 18 months ago to, this is a percentage of page views. So we're thinking that like maybe 1 out of every 40 pages is a video page, which is enormous, right? When you think about the opportunity to really engage with your audience on that level. And we've also seen this other cool trend, is that anybody here use Google Analytics to understand their site, or Omniture? Absolutely, so everybody understands search engine referrals. So search is an important part of our business, like I'm sure it's part of yours. And we've realized that there's been a wonderful increase for us to understand in the phrase how to. So we analyzed all of our search engine referrals. We said, what are the keywords that are bringing people to our site? And it is how to poach salmon, how to roast chicken, how to make a birthday cake, right? So we thought to ourselves, okay, video is up, how to is up, 1 out of 5 people are watching cooking videos. Maybe we need to innovate some product that can specifically meet all of these needs. And just to take a quick look at this, you can see that at first the adoption of how-to trends wasn't as apparent with tablet, but look what's happened. It's absolutely eclipsed it as of last fall, and we're just moving forward. So that's what really helped us to drive innovation.
I think one thing that's also really interesting about how-to and tablets is we found that people are more likely to be cooking from their tablets. And so one of the things that our product team has done really well is make sure that our sites and apps built for tablets are knuckle-friendly, because right when you're cooking, your hands are dirty. So it's like really thinking about what folks are doing when they're interacting with your products.
That's a great point.
What does that mean, knuckle-friendly?
That
Like-
you can
Bigger, though?
yeah, well, you
You
could
could-
bigger buttons,
we'll see-
easier
you'll-
to swipe,
Yeah.
less probably I guess it'd be more sensitive, right? So you don't.
I'll show you
She'll show you.
Yeah, definitely.
in a minute.
Yeah. So one of the things that we also saw, we thought, okay, but is this an opportunity for allRecipies to grow and make more money, right? Because everybody needs to grow and make more money. And it's true that if you can look at this, how-to videos compared to all videos. So all videos would be like, we can say how to make banana bread, which is one of our top 3 best recipes of all time, versus how-to, which is this how to poach a salmon, how to roast a turkey, these kind of more general ideas about how do I do this. we see that people who are going to a how-to video are much more engaged in that video than compared to videos at large. So we thought, okay, this is an audience that's real and growing. They're really using it on tablet. And it's a hyper-engaged group that then we can then market to our advertisers as a great opportunity to meet.
Yeah. Okay, so another sort of factor into this landscape, and Esme really touched on this earlier around device proliferation. So tablet ownership doubled last year, and then on every single platform there are new tablets just flooding the marketplace. So Kindle Fire just launched the HD 8.9. Google has 4-inch, 7-inch, 10-inch tablets. The Surface just came out, and the ever portable, personable iPad Mini. So that combined with some of the trends that we're seeing in terms of like people searching for video, all of that kind of gave rise to the video cookbook. So I'm going to just switch gears actually and plug in my iPad so I can show you. So this is part of our mission. Here, do you want to just tell them the mission while I get this going?
You mean All Recipes
Yeah.
mission? Oh yeah, our mission is to energize home cooks with confidence.
Oops.
So they can succeed with all of their cooking goals, no matter what the size or scope. So it's really about giving him or her the information they need whenever they need it to help them succeed with their cooking, right? Because that feels good, right? If you're able to cook a meal that everybody likes, or you bring something to a potluck and you leave with the dish empty, that feels great. And so we design, features and tools and
Yeah.
create content that helps people succeed.
Yeah. So, in the spirit of confidence, we also, I think, was what gave rise to this video cookbook experience. So, what you see here is kind of this front page where we've got, content that's sort of relevant for the season. So we've got, stuff that feels kind of springy. You see strawberries here. But I'm going to pull up one of my favorite recipes, and I think yours too. Clone of a Cinnabon. I had one of those cinnamon danishes, or 2 or 3, out there, so they're on my mind. So what you see here, one of the things that when we first incorporated video onto the website, what people told us was, this is great, but really what I want is to see the recipe next to it. I need some context. And so with the tablet real estate, we were able to do that. So we've put the ingredients alongside as well as the directions. And then we took it one step further and really, what we like to think revolutionized how-to videos by connecting the directions to the video. So you'll see this as we go. So as the video is playing, sorry, my connection is. So you can see the first step automatically highlights as you go, and I'm going to just advance this a little bit so you can watch. So. All these all these ingredients get loaded into the bread machine, and then I'm going to let you just watch this. The direction's going to automatically advance to the second one when we get there.
There's a really soothing woman's voice here telling you exactly what to do.
So, okay, here it goes. So did you see that it automatically advanced? So you really don't need to, you don't even need to touch it, but if you wanted to, right? So here's where the knuckle comes in. I can kind of just, I'm afraid of losing my connection, but I can really just, very quickly kind of tap on what I needed. Oh, wait, what was I supposed to put in? How was that supposed to go? You can just very quickly either sit back and follow along and let the video tell you what's happening in the appropriate directional highlight for you, or you can navigate it yourself by tapping on the directions. Yeah. So yeah, and we've got We've got recipes across all of our various categories.
Yeah. Thousands of recipes here, so if you're ever curious really how to do it, you need to see it, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions before we move on? This is actually another app. We've created, we have Video Cookbook is its own app that is available for iPad and iPhone because, and primarily because, so many people have smartphones and, so we created a smaller version.
Isn't it Win 8 too?
And it's also Windows 8. Yes. Okay, so let me plug back in here. So I think we have a couple more slides. Here we go.
Ta-da.
And the other, no. There we go. Okay, so we kind of hit on two different experiences, our mobile website, and we walked through one of our apps. We really just kind of wanted to talk about how we think about these different experiences. And really, the mobile website is really important because it allows us to engage with a huge audience and respond to a need. So if I search for chicken recipes, we are able to come up and be there. So we can reach a much broader audience across whatever platform. So that's sort of what the mobile website really allows us to do. But the apps also allow us to create a deeper engagement. And so what we see, in terms of like time spent and even in terms of like the experience we can create, it's a much more immersive, engaging experience. So, which you kind of saw, which you.
It's more like playful and entertaining too, because the iOS devices have, and smartphones have some really great
Yeah,
feature sets
Yes.
that you don't typically get with mobile.
Yeah.
So it allows different form factor.
yeah. And so the other piece with apps is it's a smaller audience, but it's a more highly engaged audience. And if you think about it, the sort of way you get to it is by bringing this app onto your own device, right? So you buy a phone and you personalize the back and you personalize the whole device with the apps you choose, and typically like check with your friends what apps you got, and so it's really like an invitation into your daily, like your extension of yourself, right? It's in your pocket with you all the time. So we really think of it as kind of a continuum of engagement where the mobile website really lets you kind of answer the quick question for lots of people, whereas apps really lets us engage longer, deeper. And so here's.
Are you looking at responsive sites versus mobile-enabled sites? So if you have
Well, like, do we use responsive design?
instead of mobile-enabled?
Well,
We
use it for our mobile emails, right?
We have, well, are you specifically asking about our mobile website? Is it just a responsive version of our desktop site?
Developers considering switching over to responsive versus developing.
We're certainly looking at it. Right now they are two separate things. They leverage a lot of the same magic, but they're separate.
It's really, like, page load time is so important always, but especially on a mobile device. And our site is so feature-rich and it's very tool-centric. And the smartphone doesn't lend itself to that same sort of experience. So we realized that, like, we have a really cool menu planner tool that people are unlikely to be using that on their smartphone, but they probably do want to see the shopping list they created using that menu planner. So it's really about thinking about how to provide the best possible experience on each given device.
Yeah, given where you are and what you need. So this is just another graph kind of illustrating the difference in time spent, between mobile web versus apps. So in summary, I think what we all kind of hit on is mobile is growing at an astounding rate, not only in terms of like the volume of devices that are entering the market, but also in terms of user adoption of them. And, it's super important to have a mobile presence, a website as, as a sort of foundational starting point. And then apps as you want to create a more personal, engaging thing. Obviously the situation varies based on, what you're trying to do. Like certain things like games lend themselves better to apps, but this is sort of how we've been thinking about it.
Great.
Questions?
Yes?
Are you guys using location at all?
We do use location. Are you talking about like Latin Lounge location, or are you talking like?
Well, like you mentioned that you knew a number of users were engaging with all recipes while they were at the grocery store.
So that comes from our surveys. That comes from our surveys, yep.
Any plans to use location in the future to help?
God, wouldn't everyone,
Yeah, I
right?
mean-
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, we're definitely thinking about
Yeah.
how we could use that. When we, there's some cool stuff. Remember your grocery bags, or
Yeah.
this is on sale. Like, there's a lot of interesting things you could potentially do.
And there's also a lot of privacy considerations that are involved in that. I mean, we're really a community-driven food site, and people trust us with their information and trust us to use their information in a way that best serves them. So even though it might best serve our advertisers in a certain way, that's not always the direction we're going to go.
We don't want to be creepy.
No, we're not that creepy guy. Not that creepy guy. No Google or anything like that. Yes?
Kind of related to that, I'm curious, do you guys have plans to, when you go to the shop page, so just checking it out, like, do you go to, could you eventually go to like Amazon.com to go buy the groceries online or something like that? Like, are you exploring that, or are you finding that that's a negative experience, maybe shoppers to be turned off?
Well, that's really a question for V. V, do you want to?
We're always exploring lots and lots of different things, and it's a super interesting scenario, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, Nirvana
Buy,
is when you connect consumer behavior with like their purchase behavior. So what if, we see great opportunity if we can leverage people's grocery shopping behaviors. We can know exactly when that chicken's going to expire, and the fact that you also have broccoli and cheddar cheese, and we can provide recommendations.
It's time to make tamale pie, Esme. Tamale pie.
Tamale pie.
Yeah.
Make tamale pie, yeah.
We're absolutely trying to do whatever we can to make cooking easier, faster, more successful, and definitely taking away that shopping pain would be a big win.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Any other questions about how we've used mobile or how you could use mobile? Yeah?
If you only had a certain amount of money to invest in your mobile experience and you had to kind of prioritize, what would you say is the most important?
I would do a mobile site because your content needs to be discoverable through Google. The vast majority of folks, when they have questions, will go directly to Google or Bing search. And if you're not discoverable, then you're completely out of mind. An app is something that you typically have some sort of brand relationship with that consumer already, and it take the act of downloading it. But I think a mobile site is so critical, and if you don't, that's where I would put my money for
Yep.
sure. And you can I think it's cheaper doing a mobile site than an app typically, and with HTML5, you can do more cool
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I think it sort of depends on,
Yeah, your scope.
Depends on
you
your-
can learn a lot
what you're
from a
gonna
mobile
do.
site and then sort of build on that through app development. I think mobile sites are easier across operating systems too. Like one of the challenges with apps, it's like whether Android or iOS or Win8 go through upgrades, then you have to go back and make some changes to your app, and that can be expensive and kind of a distraction. Is that definitely right?
And
Yeah,
not,
I
not
mean,
everybody.
I would agree, I would definitely agree with the mobile website being a great foundation, starting point.
Yeah. Yes.
We marked you a mail.
So where are you from?
So I'm with Stanley.
Okay.
We make outdoor food beverage beer.
Yeah.
Coffee mugs.
Oh, cool.
I think I have one of your things in my back of my car. Yes. 1977.
My
Yes.
sister brand is Latin, who works with you guys.
Yep.
So I'm just curious though, do you have any stats or interesting statistics that you might share about how men are using all recipes and especially around barbecuing and
Yeah.
the growing?
We've got buckets of that, and in fact, perhaps you could email Esme. You guys could get connected, and we're always happy and excited to share about it. I mean, I think it's 70% of our
audience is female. We actually have a website that's geared towards male. It's
Yeah.
a little bit stereotypical, but it's called Man-Tested Recipes, and it's a lot about fire and ice. And so that's really geared to like, dude food. But then we do find there's a lot of guys coming to our website,
Yeah.
feeding the family, feeding themselves. They definitely tend to be, guys tend to be more weekend warriors. They are more likely to be able to cook what they want to cook, whereas mom tends to have to cook what she has to cook, right? So it's like, kind of please the whole family, whereas guys can typically make more of a hobby out of it, but that's a very broad generalization. There's cooks, all genders doing all things.
But if you want some nitty gritties, definitely get connected, yeah. Because we surveil everything. Anything else?
Did you say that the video book is only on iOS and Windows, but not on Android?
Correct, at the
Why did you
moment.
choose not to put it on Android?
We would like to put it on Android. We haven't yet.
Yeah.
It's not for lack of want.
And I'm noticing it's the noon hour. Anybody who has to run, should we let them out or
No.
All right. More questions. Yes. Yeah.
Since this session is right before lunch, are there Cinnabon